Hello everyone, welcome to video number 3 for our Warhammer Fantasy campaign. I hope you have enjoyed the previous sessions and do feel free to drop us a like, subscribe, comment, anything you want to ask about the game, if you want clarification on rules or if you want to tell me what I'm doing wrong, do feel free. See you down in the comments. And what I think we'll do before we get started this day is just give a brief little shout out to Danny for helping me in his spare time and helping set up some sound effects for this. Some visuals as well. Hopefully it's looking a little bit prettier for the players as well as you guys. And hello from me down here in the corner. And with that being said, I think we can probably do a recap of the previous session. Would you guys like to do the recap, or would you like me to do a brief overview?
Your voice is better than all of ours. Go
for it. Definitely.
Okay, I'll do that. So, within the last session, you made your way back to home for the majority of you, Bogenhafen. And returning back late in the evening, Elise Magirius waved you back inside the gates. You made your way to a tavern where you were put up for the night on the tab of Elise, and had a decent meal and night's rest. The following morning, you met with the Greenthistle halflings, which you had rescued the previous day, and they offered you some work investigating the Ruggbroders for the first adventure and the Steinhagers for the second day, to see if your lives, or even the Greenthistle's, would be in danger, or if they were scheming or up to anything in particular. So, successfully managed to track the Ruggbroder from their home, or his home rather, and followed him to his offices, at which point Sienna has broken in, dressed and guised as a maid, currently upstairs pilfering through paperwork and shoving some into your bra, I believe from what I recall of the previous session, with Rogelthorn just outside the office of Mr. Ruggbroder himself, currently lying in wait in the shadows. Currently neither of you have been spotted, but just as we ended the last session, the door of Mr. Ruggbroder's office had slid open and the gentleman had stepped outside, and with that he walked down the stairs. What are the two of you up to?
Does he notice any of us? No.
Well, you're currently inside another room. I tell you what, I will do a perception check. Roll 1d100 just for him to see if he notices Rogel. That is a pretty high roll. Let's have a stealth test from you, Rogel, to see if he notices. You did have an exceptionally good roll before, so... And I haven't given this chap a penalty for, well, he's not really going to be looking underneath cupboards and such for a small little gnome. So I think I'd give that minus 20. We'll stick with your previous roll because you did roll for stealth when you were hiding previously. So that's actually going to be pretty narrow, but he's going to walk out of his room not particularly paying much attention for gnomes hiding in corners, shadows and under tables, and step down the stairs slowly to the base where you can hear him begin to converse with the front reception desk. What are the two of you up to?
Do I notice that he's leaving considering I'm in another room, or do I just hear a door open and footsteps?
You would have heard a door open. There's not a lot going on the second floor, so it would be quite hard to miss that, as well as footsteps on a wooden floor. No need to roll for a test. Likewise, Rogel would have been observing and would be aware.
I'm gonna tiptoe my way to the room where he just left his office.
Okay. And Rogel, what are you up to?
Well, seeing him leave, and seeing that he got away with sneaking in there and hiding, Rogel's eyes are gonna light up with just intense glee at the prospect of going into this room and finding all kinds of snoopy, gossipy stuff. And he's gonna he's gonna sneak in there and be all happy. Let's do it. See what he finds.
So how long are you gonna spend surveying the room? Are you doing a quick brush around, or are you like looking in all the cupboards and like having a good route through?
Well, at the moment, the key is to find pertinent information. So, at this moment in time, I'm going to focus solely on finding the stuff for our mission for the halfling. Otherwise, if we have more time, I will search for more.
Okay. So, As the two of you creep out from your hiding place or the opposite room, you slowly creak open the door to Mr. Ruggbroder's office, noticing inside a large, decadent desk with a couple of drawers, large and ornate, wooden, a beautiful golden trim around the edge with a marbled surface on top. Around the side of the room there are a few workstations with papers, a few filing cabinets perhaps, a wardrobe or two, and shelves and shelves of books that seem to be fairly uniform in appearance, at least. They seem to be collections of books, leather-bound and beautifully constructed. Atop the desk...
So...
After you.
So Rogel can assume that this room is kind of a study.
Indeed, it would certainly appear that way.
What does he have on his desk?
On his desk are a few papers, a quill, as well as ink pots, and you can see, stepping up to the desk, that he has been writing and filling in some, well, assuming you walk up to the desk and investigate this, a piece of paper outlining trade routes as well as trade arrangements. He seems to be doing a little mind map of trading plans, basically, and you notice that these are primarily via the riverways.
Alright, Rogel's going to pull one of his pieces of parchment out of his little knapsack that he keeps, and he's going to start copying down information. Okay.
So as you're doing this, you can hear some mumbling in the background. It sounds like he's conversing currently with the receptionist at the front of the room. At the front desk. However, you can't hear from where you are what they're saying.
Shauna.
Yes?
Can you go and watch out for him and distract him if he starts to come back up?
Yeah, I'll give you a signal if I see him coming up.
Make me a perception test, Shauna, or let's see if you can hear what they're saying downstairs.
Yeah, just a sec. Perception... Any bonuses, minuses?
No bonus. It's a very quiet area, so I'll give you a plus 20. It's just the two of them talking. There's not a lot of background noise in a quiet office.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear. Well, nothing bad happens because you're only listening, but it just sounds like two people mumbling. Perhaps the accents are a little thick for you to make out any words. And this goes on for a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, Rogel, you are copying the document, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. So if you could make me a dexterity check, let's see how long this takes you.
Yes,
so
sir.
So just a flat attribute dexterity check off of the character sheet. And we'll come to the other two
Dexterity?
characters. Yeah, let's see if you're able to quickly jot down a few bits and bobs. Okay. So you're able...
Oh.
It takes you a few minutes, probably about 5 minutes, to sketch out the sort of overall plan of the directions of various arrows and sort of crosses on various spots, as well as a few names here and there. It takes a bit of time to draw out sort of a general sketch of the map as well, but you're able to do so competently. You feel that you've done an adequate job to gather this piece of information.
Now, do I know if this information, so like these trade routes and stuff, is this information that would be useful to said hobbits? Is this something, what was it that we were actually looking for? It was for just trade secrets, right?
Your task was to find out if their lives were in any danger. And the information's fairly interesting. It seems to be like a mind map as such. He seems to be sketching something down. It's not like necessarily like a formal bit of paperwork or anything like that, but it seems to be a sort of a hand-done sketch with various scribbles here and there. So it's as interesting as you find it.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess if I haven't gotten a signal yet, I want to poke through some of the drawers and see if I can find information relevant to why I'm here.
Well, as you've started to finish up this map, Sienna, you will be able to listen down the stairs and hear the heavy footsteps begin to lead out of the building as it appears Mr. Ruggbroder is leaving. And
Okay.
the other two individuals at this point out the front of the building, camped up within the large Dreikerplatz square, with many individuals here and there keeping an eye on the front of the building. You would spy Mr. Ruggbroder making his way across or outside of his office. What are you up to, Sienna?
Rolgo, do you need any help looking for things?
No, I can find stuff. Just keep an eye. You're the only one that can actually engage with someone should they
left
come
the
by.
Building.
Yeah, but if someone else comes.
Well, while I'm waiting, can I just skim through the other rooms?
Certainly. You can run me... Do we have an awareness attribute? I think if we do an awareness test just to see what you can quickly find.
It's perception?
Yeah, we'll do a perception for you.
Anything?
Nope, nothing for you. Okay.
I'm not on my game.
You find
today.
bits of paper here and there, lots of paper everywhere, some filing cabinets. Down the end of the room, there does seem to be someone who is drawing and filing and measuring out some documents on a table, but when they notice you as you peer around the corner, they simply tell you that they're busy in work and to leave them undisturbed for now, recognising you as a maid.
Sorry, I'll continue cleaning the other rooms then, and just skitter away.
Indeed. Please do not disturb me again.
Sorry.
Now, over to Grimwald and Oleg, currently observing Mr. Ruggbroder, who you have watched walk into the building, now walk out, accompanied by a couple of guard. He starts...
Also, before we continue, I go back to Thorn's room and keep a lookout.
Okay. So at this point, Mr. Ruggbroder is walking his way across the Dreikerplatz and heading towards a central building. It is perhaps only some 50 metres away across the plaza. A large, decorative building that you would probably recognise as a diner or a club, something that looks very, very swish, though, very ornate, decorative. A couple of guards stationed around the outside. Large, ornate building, perhaps 3 stories high, and very decorative.
Okay, I'm just gonna tap Oleg on the shoulder and tell him, like, Bruder, nice day today, isn't it?
Yes, it is a very nice day, Bruder. Should we try and follow him inside, or are we not well dressed enough? I do like my new jerkin, but others have said it is not pleasing to the eye.
What do we know about the restaurant or club?
On first glances, I tell you what, make me let's say an intelligence check with plus 20. Just to see what you can recall of general information. This is only off the top of your head as such.
Should I be assisting?
That's fine. He did pretty good.
There is lore local as a skill.
Yes, that would be appropriate. Thank you. The intelligence will do for now. A pretty reputable building known as the Golden Trout. It is a members-only upper-class diner as such. And tavern, very, very swish. The top of society would frequent it, but not a lot else.
Okay. Bruder, shall we make our way into the building under assumed identities?
I do not think that is a good idea, Bruder. You see, this is specific clientele. I think we do not fit the description.
Bruder, we have the coin, and I just sort of swish the gold and silver quickly around my palm, and I'm just going to tell him, it won't hurt to try at all. I will be Johannes von Schimmelschauser of Marienburg, and you will be my trusty assistant, Bertrand von Tinkeldunkel.
Bertrand von... This is much too complicated for me, brother.
Do not worry, Bruder. I shall do the introductions.
Oh, okay. Just try not to break laws, okay?
Yeah, not to worry.
Alright.
Okay.
And we're gonna head after them.
Okay.
Like, we're just gonna waltz in, like, pretending like we belong in there.
Okay. So, back to Rogel for a moment. If you make me a perception test, just to see what you're able to spy within the drawers, as you're currently searching through the gentleman's office. There is a little bit of silverware here and there, a few sort of jugs and canisters, a few nice ceramics on the side of these desks, a little bit of antiquity. Within the filing cabinets, you don't find anything of much interest. You start looking through drawers. There's a couple of letter openers that look like they're sort of fairly nice, but aside from that, there doesn't seem to be any other particularly interesting documentation, just lots of records of transactions going back months, perhaps even years, but not a lot else that catches your eye. Okay.
Okay, well, that's it, right?
Yeah. You can do as you please.
I gave this room a thorough search, so it's time to skedaddle, I guess.
Okay. So I think, time-wise, as you're searching through all of that, we'll probably have the other two approaching the Golden Trout. So, the two of you walk up to the front door, at some yards and a safe distance behind Mr. Ruggbroder. And you notice him, the door is currently closed but is opened upon arrival. The gentleman knocks on the door, opens up, and you can see him ushered in from some elegantly dressed lady. And the door proceeds to close afterwards.
Does the elegantly dressed lady sort of resemble, like, Elise?
No, she seems to be in some form of uniform. You get the impression she's an usher of sorts. Okay.
We're just gonna go ahead and was it visible how they did the knock? Like, was it in any
looked like a knock, but yeah, it looked like there didn't seem to be anything too complicated about it. There was a door knocker on the front of the door.
Okay. I'm just gonna waltz in like we belong there with my bruder and do the same knock.
Okay.
The guards don't react in any way, or?
They do eye you up and down as you approach. The two guards of Mr. Ruggbroder had entered with him. There are, however, guards stationed around the edge of the building. They look at you and acknowledge you walking up and certainly give you a raised eyebrow, but don't attempt to interfere, but look like they're watching you and ready to. Shortly after knocking, the door does open for you, and in front of you a very decadent-looking lady, and this gives you a small glimpse into the tavern of the Golden Trout. But as you are stood there within the opening of this building, the lady looks rather alarmed towards you. Hello? This is members only. I don't think you're members.
Not members? Ich bin Johannes von Schiemelschauser from Nienberg, a very famous merchant. Locally famous, but I have traveled here under a guise. Und das ist mein Assistant, Bertrand Vortinkeldunkel.
Good evening.
Make me a deception test with -10 because she's upper class, and another -10 because.
Oh.
Would you say deception?
Yeah, deception. I think it'll fall under gossip for this. I don't think there is a deception.
Or maybe
charm.
because like I'm under
Under
a
charm.
guy.
Yeah, it'll be under. Sorry, I don't know why I say gossip. I meant to say charm. You can re-roll it if you like, because that's my fault for being thick. Roll a charm test for me, please. I'll edit that bit
There
out.
you go. Be charming.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, no, I'm sorry. No matter who you are, you can't come in smelling like that. Shoo! She believes it's you. She thinks that you might be someone posh, but she will not let someone looking like you inside.
Like who? Like me, myself, or
Yeah,
oh,
both of you. She looks disgusted.
You're both smelly peasants.
Looking inside, everyone in there is wearing fine robes. It looks like they probably fart out perfume. She looks like she's about to vomit from just simply looking at you.
From looking at
Get out! Get out!
joking.
Awful! Awful! Get out!
The latest in Marienburg fashion, madame.
Mademoiselle, please.
Go have a wash and get some decent clothes on and we'll get you back in. And it's members only anyway. Shoo! Slam.
Okay.
Door closes in your face.
Wait, while we're here, is that Groover?
Yes, you did spy Gosbert. Indeed. So you have just been shunted outside, and as you are, Sienna and Thorn stroll up behind you and
Can I
witness...
try and scare Phoenix?
Try and scare him?
Yeah. No apparent reason, just...
Sure. Roll a stealth test to see if you can sneak up on him.
Rogel thinks this is
Oh,
hilarious.
God.
Join in.
And we'll have an opposed perception test from Grimvold.
Any bonuses?
May I also make perception test?
Yeah, you can make a
Sure, I would
perception
also
too.
hear them.
No bonuses. Let's just do flat tests. Okay.
Oh, and I'm coming.
Okay. So Ola, you watch Sienna trying to move stealthily towards you, sort of creeping up behind Grimvold with a mischievous look and smile on her face. And
Oleg doesn't say anything. Just watches.
Indeed. And Grimvold, you turn around and I don't think you roll perception, but either way, with a failure of -7, you turn around and you sort of Sienna's just paused there on the spot, creeping towards you, and freezes. From your perspective, you've just seen two of your friends be sort of shoved out a door, and a rather alarmed-looking and decadently dressed lady looking like she's very close to fainting.
What did you do to that bitch?
Please, do not be alarmed. First, let me go wash ourselves before you
brother.
enter here.
Brother, please stop speaking like that.
Are any of the guards, like, how far away are we from the guards, so I don't have to keep up the guise of me
They're
being
there and there.
Okay, so we're just gonna, I'm just gonna move away and sort of signal towards Shauna and Thorn with like a simple bow, like put my hand behind my back and just sort of tell them to follow me.
I just shamefully...
And just go away.
Oh
a
no,
face
Thorn
palm
is sneaking
forward.
around the building already.
Oleg tips his hat to the guards.
Sorry for the
Thorn
trouble.
wants to peek around the building, sneaking around it to check it out and see what windows and back doors there are.
I think it was was it from all sides, like guards posted, or just the front?
There's definitely two on the door. There's other guards walking around the plaza, but there doesn't seem to be any other stationed around the sort of walls as such. There looks like there might be some patrols and guards sort of slowly strafing around the edge, but only as sort of a matter of making the internals feel safe. More for show. Okay, so Rogel's looking around the edge. It only takes a few yards, Rogel. Walking along the wall, you do see the occasional curtain and window. It's difficult to make a view inside, but if you make me a perception test with -20, I can tell you what you can see from sort of peering over the windowsills. They're fairly highly placed, and...
No, I'm just going to pop this out. I don't know, where's that button? There it is.
Going to pop that down there. And while you're doing that, what are the others up to?
I'm just moving away, and
Okay.
Can I buy perfume somewhere?
You could try and go and find perfume from somewhere. She seemed to be disgusted with more than just your smell. It was your general look, demeanour, your facial hair. She just generally seemed pretty upset in your presence.
But I'm shaved for the occasion.
Not well enough, apparently. So, Rogel, you can see inside, and there's lots of individuals talking, but the expensive excuse of a curtain is very difficult to see through, but it does seem to afford the individuals inside a degree of privacy. However, as you walk around the corner, you do see a second service entrance, one would presume, as you spy a maid or a waitress or something of the sorts stepping outside and emptying a bucket of water onto the floor before walking back in.
Rogel drops his shadow form long enough to wave Shauna over and points to the back door.
No. Do I see
So
it?
you're actually using the shadow form in the plaza.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
channeling. That's what I'm doing for stealth, is channeling Ulgu.
Okay. I'm going to make a...
That was my first roll, channeling
Yeah.
Ulgu.
Okay, it's fine. The patrol walking around didn't seem to notice you using some form of mystical magic. Right, yes, so you've successfully waved the others over.
And then I'm gonna continue my traipse around the back of the building, see if I see other things. But I'll let them figure out what they want to do with what I just told them.
Okay, so Oleg and Grimvold, what are you up to?
Well, considering I'm as non-stealthy as it gets, would it be
Same.
possible to just have the guardsmen just have their attention, and I'm just gonna make a fuss because I can't do the voice anymore. Like, what is this? Unacceptable! I have been a member of this group.
Roll me a gossip, a charm test to see how theatrical you can be. Minus
Any
10
bonuses?
because this is this is an upper class establishment. This is
fair enough.
they're not really interested in the squabbles of a peasant. You go up and act like you're in a big huff, pretty stressed, and this is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. And it takes all of about 5 seconds before the guard to just give you a shove on the chest and push you away. That's enough of that. Calm down. Go have it is somewhere else.
Sir, please, sir, calm down. We will find a bath and a tailor for you, please.
And Oleg is going to try and just gently guide Grimvold away from the door.
I'm just
patting
gonna
him
go.
on the back.
I'm just gonna go away with them.
Okay.
And,
I'm gonna whisper to Rogel, just like, well, it's up to us again.
Rogel just
do
moves
I
away.
see the- I come closer. Coming for you.
Okay. So you're stepping inside the entrance?
Is this
Rogel's gonna post outside.
Okay.
Also, did I see the maid? I'll walk
Rogel
over.
would have told you, but no. Yeah, she would have gone back inside since. The door is slightly ajar as you approach it. It seems to be sort of half open, and you can hear inside it sounds like the kitchen. There's probably some few individuals you can hear sort of clanking pans and sort of shouting to each other. Sort of usual noises one would expect from a kitchen.
Yeah, but they aren't talking about anything specific.
Nothing that you can hear, just the occasional barking of sort of a food being ready or to turn the temperature up of something in particular or stir something faster. Nothing that catches your attention other than what you would expect.
Yeah. It's kind of risky because people don't know me to just enter there. Oh, I'm gonna have to try.
Okay,
So
well, you're still dressed
gonna-
as a maid at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna enter. I assume this is the entrance.
Okay.
And just look around and...
I'm going to pop you up to the door.
oh, that's the door.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, you just walk through the fireplace.
Oh,
It's very,
I'm baked.
very ethereal of you. Yeah, so stepping inside, you can see a small dwarf behind the bar currently measuring up drinks, pints of ale. He's wearing a particularly flamboyant hat. and looks to be very well dressed. To your right are some few servants that are basically scrambling together meals and food, and this looks rather... they look to be rather stressed and don't really pay a lot of attention to you at the moment. There seems to be little care for you being there.
Okay, do I see any tables to clean up?
You can see straight ahead of you that's where the dining area is. You can barely, from where you are, though, see a sort of one table out the corner of your eye.
I'm gonna move a little bit closer. But, like, try and hide my face from the dwarf.
Okay. Make a stealth test for me, just to see if you can move fairly quietly and not alert his presence.
Any bonuses?
No.
Sneakity snackety.
Okay.
Oh, wow, nice.
Okay, he's currently serving out a few drinks. You can see him filling up what seems to be quite a large order of sort of pints of ale and a few bottles of wine onto a large plate. He seems to not really be paying. He may have acknowledged you're there, but doesn't really seem to care or acknowledge right now. Would you mind making a perception test as well for me, just to see how much you can spy of the room? Lots of dice.
Anything?
No bonuses. No bonuses.
Fuck.
Okay. Well, it takes you a few glances to have a good spy around the room. You don't quite have a good eye shot of the table in the corner here, but you don't see Mr. Ruggbroder in any of the other tables around the area. But you do see plenty of people enjoying and eating some pretty decadent food. It looks pretty good and smells lovely in here. Now, if we come to Grimvald and Oled for a second, you can see around the building numerous windows, and you can see individuals, sort of the shapes and shadows moving within. What are the two of you up to at the moment, other than pestering guards?
Well, Oleg is going to find a slight inconspicuous spot a little bit away just to observe and watch for Mr. Ruderberger.
Okay, so observing the entrance, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And Grimvald, what are you up to?
I'm gonna assist him in observing.
Okay, so you're just going to sit tight and watch and wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Rogel, are you happy staying outside?
I am happy staying outside, peeking around. So, how many stories is this building?
It looks like a 3-story building. It's
Okay.
quite impressive.
So there's no like outside access, fire escapes, or anything like that. Nothing I can nose around.
Doesn't seem to be. There's plenty of windows around the edge, but nothing. You've got a window just around your corner here, but that's the only sort of point of interest to you currently.
I don't see anyone on the backside of the building, do I?
There is a guard group that keeps sort of intermittently walking around, but they're only just patrolling as such. They're just there for show.
Okay. Well, I've already tried peering through the window. I failed, so...
I'd allow a reroll, because you tried looking through this window. You haven't tried looking through this one.
Ooh, is there something special about this window? Yeah, let's try it. Yay, my perception is totally bad.
I'll give you plus 10. Because you can take your time and actually study this a bit more. Now you're not at the front of the building.
Wait, where did my thing go? Gone.
Lovely banquet music.
I accidentally clicked out and now I can't hear anything.
Oh well. It sounds wonderful.
Yellow wheel.
Okay. How's that? Oh, is that your perception? Okay.
Terrible.
Yeah, you see some shapes moving still, but there doesn't seem to be a lot going on there. So back to Sienna. You attempt to have a peek from where you are now. What are you up to?
Do I see a mop or something anywhere around me in the kitchen or a storage unit or anything?
Yeah, there's mops and equipment sort of lying around in the corner over here. A bucket as well, which seems to have been emptied.
I'm gonna get a mop and a bucket and fill the bucket with some water
Mm-hmm.
And after I do this, I'm gonna start pretending and kind of actually cleaning the floors around the tables. And while I'm doing
Okay.
that, I'm gonna try and hear what people are saying.
Okay. So we won't roll a stealth test this time because you're carrying a mop and a bucket of water. As you walk past the dwarf, that he does notice your presence. Oh, hello there. Are you new?
Hello. Yeah, I just got hired the other day.
I wish these bloody ungies would tell me. Anyway, just make sure you don't disturb the guests, alright? Try and just leave them to their food, alright?
Okay, thank you.
Alright. Perhaps start off over in the corner, and he sort of points out a few areas that he thinks are particularly dirty and need some cleaning, and goes back to pouring out some more drinks. This is about 12 pints in total now that seems to be on a particularly large, decadent silver tray. But you have the run of the room, and you certainly get a few eyeballs walking around, just sort of glances from the corner of the eye. Only people just curious as to what you're up to. And stepping into the room now, you do get a better view. You can see Gosbert Ruggbroder, who you were following, sat down at the table with two guards behind, chatting with a old man, very old and elderly, seems to be sort of likely knocking on death's door.
I wouldn't recognize him because I'm not from
From the gossip you heard yesterday, just to save you trawling through notes, you would have recalled that Gosbert had an elderly father who was of an unnatural age, some 80 plus years old. So you would have recalled that. You don't know if that's him, but that information was given to you.
I just assume that it's him.
It would be a reasonable assumption.
Yeah. This table is empty, correct?
It is indeed.
I'm gonna pretend to clean around it, and while I'm near them, I can't eavesdrop. That's a thing I don't have. Advanced skill.
You can make me another perception test, as we're doing something different, and I will give you plus... I mean, you're right next to them, so I'm going to give you plus 30, because it's pretty easy to listen to a table while you're next to them. So you can... And they're not being particularly quiet either. You can overhear Gosbert Ruggbroder. Now, father, you must be more reasonable. We need to go into the vine. The grain is not as reliable anymore. I think we are going to lose a lot of gold on this. And you can hear the old fella, aside from him, just grumbling and moaning across the table, just seeming to just completely dismiss anything that comes from his mouth. It's very difficult to make out the old man, but doesn't seem to be particularly pleased, and Gosbert seems to be particularly quite distressed.
I'm just imagining a conversation. You're talking to someone, and the only reaction is.
That's pretty much. It just seems to be mumbling predominantly, but Gosbert seems to have a rough handle on what he's saying.
I continue to clean around the table.
Okay.
Just make a mental note of what they've said.
Okay, so as you arrive close to the table, one of the guards does sort of step forward and sort of meets your eyes with a bit of eye contact, as if, come any closer and I'm gonna...
Oh, sorry, forgive me. I was just moving around the chair and just slightly away.
Gosbert turns back to his guard.
Oh, thank you.
And continues to...
Now, father, you best listen to me. You're being very rude.
They're not having a nice conversation right now. Pretty heated. So... What's a rude brother? Indeed. So, over the next 20 minutes to half an hour, the two of them do continue to converse, and the argument begins to eventually quell. By this time, you've cleaned the majority of the room. You've been given a couple of tips as you've walked past. You've earned yourself 2 silver. just from the opulent guests sort of throwing basically tossing a bit of silver into your bucket as you go past. Mostly them just giving you the eyeball and being dirty old gentlemen, but Gosbert and presumably the old man with him, his father, continue, although he did call him father. So, yes, their argument quells and they begin eating food. They tuck in and you see them enjoying a spread of toasts, jams, marmalades, wurst, you name it, some very nice looking, sort of a brunch. And with that, you notice out while cleaning across the room, Gosbert stand from the table, announce to his father, "This is very good seeing you again, father. Perhaps we will do this again soon. Now, do excuse me, I will go and do what needs to be done." And father just doesn't seem very happy to say goodbye. There's no pleasantries as Gosbert goes to leave the building, and the old man, as soon as Gosbert's left, just basically points a finger at the bar, and a waiter quickly rushes over to provide him with whatever he seems to be barking requests for.
Probably had he gave his compliments to the chef of the good food.
Could have been. He doesn't seem very happy though, that's for sure. Seems to just be a miserable old man. Right, Rogel, for the last half hour, what have you been up to?
I thought I was trying to look through windows, but I was too short.
Pretty much. So you spent half an hour doing that, just staring at the fence moving.
On your tiptoes.
I mean, if you were looking for that long, you would have seen Sienna, going around mopping, and it would have been, interesting to watch, I guess. So where are you staying hidden around the back of the building, or?
Nah, I continue to patrol it in my own way.
Okay, so you're sort of strafing around and circling and...
looking for weak points.
Okay, aside from the windows here, which you find to look through, you sort of take it in turns peeping through and sort of trying to gather what information you can. Never quite able to spy Mr. Ruggbroder and his older father, you give up your quest for information. Now, Sienna, as Gosbert goes to leave, what are you up to?
As he's going to leave, I wouldn't be able to ask the father some questions, wouldn't I? Because
you could
I'm just
try.
waiting. Well, I'm gonna get closer to him and just ask, "Excuse me, sir, do you need anything?"
Let's make a charm test with a -10.
Oh, come on.
Is it her mustache?
You're working class.
Reroll that.
Reroll that fortune right now.
Yeah.
He takes
Also, do we get bonus fortune?
bonus. You have your standard fortune, so it's reset.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're back to your regular level of fortune.
Okay. So now I'm at 2. So I'm gonna reroll.
Okay.
Reroll. Charm.
Fumbling failure again.
10.
Incoming. In before fumbling
Yeah.
failure.
Oh,
Oh God, no!
Wonderful.
He takes his toast and marmalade and just throws it against your face. He just disgusted that you approach him.
Can I at least try and dodge?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
make a dodge
Because
test.
it's in point blank range, so it makes sense.
Yeah, you can make a dodge test.
Anything? Any bonuses?
No bonuses. Okay,
Damn.
+10. It's because it's a slow moving, but yeah,
Doesn't matter.
square in the side of your face. On the plus side, it smells like the most beautiful oranges as it sort of slides down your face. You get a small
Don't
little
let that
whiff
go
of
to
it,
waste.
and
Catch it.
Thank you, sir.
this is
Yeah,
probably the best you've smelled in months. So glorious.
Well,
Glorious.
I take my mop, I take my sticky face, and yeet.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. This is the best marmalade I've ever tasted. She runs away, crying.
Thank you, senpai!
Glorious. Okay.
Little cat ears appear on her. What? Who said that?
So the group, you observe Gosbert Ruggbroder leaving the establishment looking somewhat flustered and a little bit sort of red-faced, and sort of gathers himself up and sort of straightens his shirt and jacket as he exits the building, and sort of then regains his composure to lift his chest up once more and begins a slightly sort of an attempt of a proud march back towards his offices the other side of the Dreikerplatz. So the group, I would assume, have reconvened and be observing him walk. Only as he approaches his offices this time, he doesn't go inside. He climbs back into the coach. I'll just have a little switch of music.
Oleg snarls at the sight of the coach.
So, let's have a... No. There's no need for tests to follow the coach. We established last time it's no faster than a walking speed, so pretty uneventful to follow. However, I will ask, as he does have a couple of guards walking in front and behind, if you each can roll a stealth test to see if they observe you, and you will get a plus 20. Simply to try and... plus 30, sorry. Well, I'll add 10 to whoever needs. A stealth test to basically just see if you can go unnoticed and see if the guards have any inkling that you are following them along.
So basically
What's the
we're
bonus?
shadowing.
Yes, you're just shadowing. Stealth
So
with plus
what's
10.
the modifier?
Plus 30, sorry. Stealth with plus 30.
LOL.
I mean, you can just re-roll Oleg.
For a 0,
die.
it's...
He's too angry because it's not
For
a
a 0, it's kind of like a yes but. So you follow, but you do kind of lag a little bit behind the rest of the group, Oleg.
Well, I'm slow, so whatever.
Yeah. No, you're
Little Nomi.
you're fine, Rogel. You just about passed. It was only Oleg that just slightly by a gnats, but still, for a 0 SL, basically you managed to shadow okay, but you're not really shadowing the carriage quite so well. You're basically shadowing your brother instead. So you just about managed to keep up and keep a tabs on your brother, who's doing a much better job of shadowing the group in question.
That's about normal anyways.
Sounds about right, yeah. So,
Yeah.
the carriage goes for... This takes some 10 to 15 minutes into one of the sort of quieter quarters of the city, more toward the dock from the Dreikerplatz. So you're now heading more into sort of the sort of working class district. And at this point, the carriage stops and Gosbert gets out with a small mumble. He speaks to two of the guards at the front, and they begin to walk down a smaller road. And upon observations of their posture, they look like they're being a little bit shy, perhaps a little bit coy, a little bit stealthy, deceptive, something of that nature. We'll load back up. So, just as a little recap, you are, or have been, following this cart down through busy, bustling market streets for the past 10 to 15 minutes. It's quite a long trek to the side of town, which I'll give a little ping. You're sort of heading toward the dock areas, but the coach basically parks itself alongside a couple of buildings, and Mr. Ruggbroder exits from this and rather coyly heads down a smaller alleyway with a couple of his guards. The other two with the cart proceed to move the cart away from the area and sort of trot around. You're not exactly sure where they've headed, but it's very clear to those of you that have been shadowing Mr. Ruggbroder slips into it's sort of like a fairly wide alley. But you're getting into the working class area of town now.
Are there a lot of people around us?
Not so many. On the main road, perhaps 5 to 10 individuals walking back and forth, but it's not so busy.
Where they stashed the carriage?
They seem to be trailing the carriage off into the distance at the moment, and it's sort of going away and heading round a corner. It seems to have been...
Oh, two guards stayed with it and it went away.
Indeed.
I thought they stashed it. Never mind.
Yeah, the carriage is basically moving away right now. So,
Dorn's gonna follow the guys who went into the alley.
Yeah.
Okay. Follow away.
Sneaky, sneaky.
We're going to have another stealth test at this point, just to see if you're able to continue to trail with... we're going to go plus 20 now. And a good roll from...
Hello.
That was without the 20 for Rogel, so that was still pretty good.
I'm gonna re-roll that.
Oh god.
Okay. So you do... As you walk into the alleyway, you do notice one of the guards turn around and simply observe you walking into the alleyway as they are stepping forward. And they don't seem to respond, however. They just simply, or he simply, acknowledges that you have walked in the alley behind them. They're some sort of 15 metres ahead at this point and sort of slowly trotting forwards, and you see them take a sharp left.
Okay.
I presume you continue to follow.
Yep.
Rogel continues to follow for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue following as well.
So stepping up
Even though
to
you
this
fail?
sharp corner, you notice the guards stop sort of halfway down this next alley, and by now this is a little bit more narrow, and this is more of a residential area now, so these seem to be more like homes either side, but more working class. And you spy, and you can hear a rather loud sort of knock-knock as Gosbert begins to make his way into a building. It seems to be someone's home. And each of let's have a perception test. Just a straight perception test from each of you.
Holy fuck.
Okay.
Nice.
So... Oled and Sienna, you're both able to spy a young-looking woman with pretty lovely-looking sort of complexion and face. Young, youthful, very pretty. Welcome Gosbert into the building, and he seems to sort of be puffing up his chest as he sort of proudly steps inside.
Is she wearing... like servant's attire or like
I would
something
say
higher up?
civilian attire. It doesn't seem to be any form of uniform to her. It seems to be fairly
Casual wear.
fairly casual wear
Housewife.
indeed.
Can we
it would
note
be a safe
the
assumption.
location? Like, are there addresses, or is that too modern?
You
Okay,
would,
yes.
there would be roads, and you would be able to. You're not too far from the docks at this point, so you would be able to fairly well sort of orientate yourself. And there
Okay,
are
we would be
little
able-
road names and signs occasionally in the odd shop here and there, so you could make sufficient notage to yourself.
Ooh, I know what I can do. Are there still other people around in this alleyway, or...
One or two, not so many.
Okay, are they near the guards at all?
One somewhat older-looking lady is currently sort of walking towards you, but another seems to be heading away with some groceries.
I would like to hook my thumbs, or Oleg is going to hook his thumbs into his ugly jerkin, Uggo brand, finest of Marienburg, and approach that lady and just start gossiping with her. You know.
Excuse me, Fraulein. How are you today? The weather is nice, yes.
Hello, young man.
The boats are wonderful.
Hello.
I had a quick question for you.
Hello.
Hi, yes.
Hello.
Could you let me know the name of the woman who is staying in that house? For she is beautiful, and I was wondering if anyone is courting her.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh. Me little heart's melting. Roll a gossip test.
Any
No,
modifiers?
roll a charm test, actually. Either one, and have a
Gossip.
have a plus 30, because I love that. That's,
Okay,
that's
it's going to
great.
be gossip. Yay!
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm afraid I don't know who it is, but good luck to you. You seem like a lovely boy. And she gives you a little pinch on the cheek, and she just wiggles it side to side.
That hurts.
If I was a little bit younger. Oh.
perhaps not. You remind me very much of my gram. Okay. Well, good day to you.
And Oleg turns around and books it back to the group.
Yeah, she does not know that lady's name. We will have to ask someone else.
While this is happening, can Rogel be going around this back and sides of? How is this laid out? Like, are the houses connected to each other, like row homes?
This is actually detached. This house, there is a little alley between each. There are some that are sort of row homes as such, and sort of in larger blocks and segments. This one seems to be slightly nicer than the others. Slightly. One guard is stood out the front at the moment. The other went inside with Mr. Ruggbroder. And you are able to survey around the building. You notice a couple of small windows, one that seems to sort of be probably well above your eye level. You'd require to sort of stand on a barrel to get to. Sort of small, like a sort of a bathroom or toilet window. And there is another front window right next to the guard and the door, and there is a back door as well.
Okay.
And what is Grimvold and Oled and Siana up to?
Well, I'm currently contemplating the idea of actually guards and then just bursting in over there and just being like, hello, Mr. Ruggbroder, and just have them both up for questioning, threatening them with their lives. But I'm not sure, like, if anybody else would be up for that, as it's a little bit too much.
Well, the question you gotta be asking is not if we're up for that, but would your character do that?
Right. I was just about to point out with my metagaming knowledge that Renaud does not like aggression that isn't.
Yeah.
You would have to goad the guards into attacking you first.
Well, in that case, do we want to make our presence known?
Is there any way, because the house is pretty isolated from other houses, to get yourself, or get myself, start trying to circle around it, trying to see what's on the other side of, what's on the back side of the house?
Yeah, you would be able to move around with Rogel and find a back door.
Okay.
Sneaky.
So do we want to go the hey guys, I'm taunting you attempt, or do we want to just go in and sneak in to the poor lady's house?
You can
have Oleg drink.
I think
consume alcohol.
Also because Oleg,
there are no spirits left. They were wasted
because
on that.
Oleg is too short to see through the windows. Can I try and see through the windows?
You can look through the bathroom. You can make me a perception test with plus.
I could stand on your shoulders.
Plus
You could stand
10.
on his shoulders.
I'm like 6'4".
Plus 10 for going up to the small bathroom
definitely
window.
stand on your shoulders then. I could probably reach the second floor.
Okay.
It's a success.
You can hear voices from within. You can't spy anything. The glass seems to be sort of a stained appearance, and it only opens at sort of a few degrees. So it's not something you can sort of stick your head under and look inside or entirely look through. But you can hear the gentleman, Mr. Ruggbroder, conversing with a lady inside, and it seems to be calm but getting a little heated.
Sienna, lift me up.
I try and lift him up.
Tell me it's by his armpits.
Yeah, but
of course.
Armpits
Baby
initially.
style.
Armpits
like a child.
initially, yeah. And then eventually on your shoulder.
Yeah.
They just sort of
Yay.
sat up
Put
on
him
your
up.
shoulder, swinging his legs.
Piggyback ride.
Okay.
Can I see them now?
If you can make me a dexterity test, you can try and unhinge the window a bit to kind of open it a bit more. You'd have to get your arm out and under to kind of like take the latch off and then move it up further. Plus 20. It's only a window.
I'm still gonna fail
It's
this.
just a question of if your arms are long enough. Nope.
Can I try and do the same?
Yeah, you could. I will.
Because I'm really tall.
I will allow you a test as well. And this will take you a little bit of time now, so you're going to be sort of farting around on the side of this building for sort of 5-10 minutes.
Well, the thing is, I'm just trying to get into line of sight.
Yeah. You don't have line of sight currently because the window basically only hinges open about sort of 15 degrees. And it's of a stained glass. It's basically like a toilet window that we would sort of identify with. So you're not able to get a clear line of sight. But let's see if Sienna is able to unhinge the window. Plus 20.
20. Okay.
Okay.
I am.
The two of you sort of fanning about for a little bit, but eventually manage to unhinge the window and open it. So it's now sort of resting on the hinged open and resting on the top of Rogel's head while peering through. You can just about spy the backside of Mr. Gruber at this point. Now, while that's been happening, what are the two brooders up to?
Oleg is going to approach the guards.
There's only one outside currently.
That's fine.
The other one went in.
His hands will be within sight, and a non-threatening posture. Just
excuse me, sir. I was wondering if your employer was in need of hiring any pilots for the river or navigators. You see, I am a river guide currently, but I am also seeking other employment, and it would behoove me to work for someone as ostentatious as your employer.
Make me a charm test with -10.
-10, yes.
-10.
Okay.
Because of your ugly jerkin.
-20.
Oh, God.
Thanks, Sienna.
I love boats. I'm Kermit the Frog.
It's fine.
I'm gonna burn this jerkin with you inside it. All right.
Well, at least it'll burn rather quickly. Right. So he looks at you. Shove off. And gives you a push.
Oleg bristles at that.
Doesn't burst into conversation. Just tells you to shove off and gives you a nudge.
Who are you to touch me like that? I just had a question for you, and now you're attacking me like this. Bruder, did you see him assault me?
I'm just gonna walk out of the corner like... You dare talk to me, Bruder?
Puts his hand on the pommel of his sword right now, which is down by his side. This gentleman is large and burly and currently wearing a chainmail vest and a leather trousers. He's pretty well kitted out. I said, shove off.
Perhaps we should listen to what he says, Bruder.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm just gonna hug him and walk away.
They thought they could finally do something today.
Oh dear. Okay. Right, so back to Rogel for a second. So Rogel, you are currently sort of listening in on the conversation. You can use a perception test or your mumbo jumbo. It's up to you.
Mumbo jumbo.
Okay, you can mumbo jumbo it to listen in on the conversation.
Oh no, I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay. Reroll it and get a miscast. Oh, a critical success. So it's not a miscast. It is a critical success. So you managed to cast this spell. So Sienna, as you're sort of looking up or listening in, you can see sort of Rogel start mumbling some words to himself and moving his hands around with this window still balanced on top of his head, sort of holding it open. And you sort of see him intently fixated forward. Now, Rogel, you can get a decent sort of earshot of the conversation now, which by now has turned into a little bit of a heated argument between Mr. Ruggbroder and this lady. And you can hear the conversation. He's attempting to calm her down and seems to be sort of trying to appease her some way. They seem to be talking about something, whether or not it's going to work out all right, or whether or not it's going to work, and he will sort of barter and plea, "Oh, Frau, please, I think this could be very, very good for both of us. Please, I implore you." And she simply responds with that it's not going to work, it's not going to work, it's just not right. And that it's not
okay,
safe.
so they don't mention what they're going to be doing. Got it.
No, they don't mention it, but that she's basically responding that it's not safe, it's not going to work, and that there would be hell to pay if they were to follow through with this.
Okay.
I say,
all right.
As you got a critical, he does the only bit of information that slips that is perhaps of interest aside from this argument is that you get the impression that he is requiring for her to discuss something with her husband. The conversation shifts to basically, "Oh, Frau, please, you must talk to him about this. It is very serious, and we need to get this done urgently."
Okay.
It would be good for all of us. It would be for the best.
I'll just state it now that once the party reconvenes, I'll be relating all of this information to you guys.
Okay. This is a fairly short meeting, so it's only as you're listening to this that she basically stomps her foot down and "No!" and starts shoving him out the door and slams it behind, with him looking pretty red and flustered and peeved. At this point, Oled and Grimvald sort of scullied away to sort of a slightly further away point within the alley. You hear the door slam rather loud, and he begins to sort of huff and move his way back down the road from whence he came.
Okay, I'm gonna relay this information to them, and I have a plan. Guys.
Just tell short stuff.
Yeah,
all right.
what is the plan?
So we're gonna send someone in and talk to her and try and convince her that we were sent by his father to try and stop him from whatever he's doing.
What?
How about we
What do you
have
think?
Shauna do it, because she
That way,
won.
so that way we can get information from her about what it is.
I suppose that could work, but we are supposed to be following.
Okay, how about this? You guys deal with that. I follow
Yeah.
Ruggbroder.
That guard knows us.
So what? It's not like he's going to attack me for just simply being there, Bruder.
He might, if he thinks you're following his master.
I suppose.
I will be safe, don't worry about me.
Okay.
Either way, this woman here knows information about him, about something that he's doing that is, to her seemingly quite heinous.
Very well.
So, I think this is the information we're looking for. These are not the droids you are looking for.
Okay. So Grimvald is going to continue to follow. Grimvald, let's have a stealth test from you first to see if you're able to shadow them back without them acknowledging that you're following.
How much modifier?
I'm going to give you plus 10.
Okay. It's been a while. Holy fuck.
Okay. So, as they begin to live, is anyone going with Grimvald first of all? Or is it just you, Grim?
I'm not.
Okay. Oleg, what are you up to?
Oleg was... Well, he wasn't encouraged to follow, so he didn't.
Okay, that's fine. So, Grimvald, as you start sort of following them back, you get to a point where you see the Mr. Ruggbroder meet again with his cart, which at this point has sort of moved to a separate location, different to where he had gotten out. He gets back in, and as he does, the guard turns his head towards you, the same one who told you to shove off, and begins walking in your direction.
Okay.
What do you do?
He's walking in my direction. How thick is there a thick enough crowd?
There's sort of some 5, 10, 15 individuals in your nearby vicinity. This is a slightly busier street.
Okay, slightly busier street. Then I'm just gonna go and be slightly busier with the crowds, and hopefully he'll lose me. And if he doesn't, I'm just going to, like, are there stands that I can hide under or something? I don't know. Like, considering this is a working area and I don't have enough information to go about, is there anything I can hide with?
Yeah, there's basically, like, you're now off of, like, a side street and onto a main street, so you have a few stalls, people trying to sell things. Not loads, it's not like a busy market district. Some people are hanging out clothes to dry on lines. There's the occasional sort of cart moving by. There's a few bits of interest. There's lots of different alleys down sort of between all the houses. So there's plenty of opportunity to manoeuvre.
Mm-hmm.
And as well as the occasional group of people sort of conversing and talking.
Okay. So is it good enough to lose him somehow?
Yeah, are you trying to, like, stay where you are and lose him, or sort of move away?
Well, if I stand, I can't actually lose him unless, like, somehow, like, I can notice if a crowd is moving past me and...
Okay. I would say that it's not like there's a big mob next to you that's moving along that you could disappear behind.
Mm-hmm.
There is a crowd of people you could duck behind, but he has looked at you and is walking toward you, so...
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna stand here and... I'm just gonna stand there and, like, try to look busy enough, I guess. Though I'm just gonna stand there and look towards him, weapon or anything. I'm just gonna stand there and look at him intently.
Okay. He basically strolls right the way up to you and just looks you dead in the eyes for a second and takes a finger out and puts it on your chest. And I said, shove off.
I'm just gonna look him straight in the eyes and gonna say, yeah, listen to me, mister. You have to my brother. He's just simply asked if he could speak brother, and he wants, like, we are a very poor family and we are looking for a job. So good.
Don't care. Shove off. And he's going to give you he's going to push you over at this point.
Oh, push me over to, like...
Yeah, he's just going to give you a shove. Yeah, you can do, like, an opposed unarmed test at this point.
Opposed strength? Okay.
Yeah.
Any modifiers?
No.
Okay.
Nice. Nice.
Basically shoves you onto your ass. No damage taken, but just pushes you onto your back and turns around and walks the other way.
Okay. As soon as he's done, I'm back on the trail.
Like a boss. He stands there, he stands there for a moment looking at you on the floor before walking away, and he does turn around to see you get up and start moving forward, and starts moving towards you again. But that being said, he does also recognise that the cart is moving behind. Follow us. Okay. And I won't be a push next time.
Can I taunt him like, ooh?
You can. I mean, are you going to try and intimidate him?
No, just like, ooh.
Yeah, you can taunt him if you like.
Yeah, so just taunt him like a simple taunt, like, ooh.
Sure. Make a charm test to see how much you can annoy him.
Try and get, yeah,
Any
enrage or
bonuses?
That sounds like an
annoy.
intimidate, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do intimidate. No bonuses. -10.
-10. Ew.
Should be more than that, I think, but yeah, that at least feels fitting.
Yeah.
He just gives you another nudge with his finger and turns to walk away.
Okay. I'm just gonna turn around and like pretend that I'm going back to where the rest of the party is, but like as soon as I notice that he's not looking at me,
Okay.
I'm killing him again.
So you wait until he's moved around the corner of where the cart has gone, and then proceed to follow. So there's literally no way of seeing where him seeing you approach, and then begin to just peep round the corner of a building and sort of spy the cart moving from a longer distance. At this point, there is a sufficient crowd where he's not going to notice you just peeping round the building. And he's at this point seems to be sort of rushed back to sort of following the cart. You continue to follow this for the 15-minute journey that you originally had sort of committed, and you find yourself back at his offices.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back to the group. During all this, what have you been up to?
Taking my jerkin off. I'm just discarding it.
Okay. Are you discarding it?
Yep.
Okay.
You're not gonna sell it?
It's worthless.
It's half price of a regular jerkin and then half again because it's second hand, so it's not a huge amount.
I could haggle it for him.
By the way, what time of day it is, considering we've been at this for a lot of time?
We're probably coming up to like 3-4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like sort of mid-afternoon right now.
Okay.
Okay. So you're taking the jerkin off, are you, Oled?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you just tossing it to one side? Are you putting it in a pack, or?
No, I will carry it with me.
Okay. So carrying a jerkin alongside you, and so what are you up to, guys?
I'm not sure if we should try Rogel's plan.
Well, if
You're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Why not?
I don't know. Too much loopholes. Too much plot points that are missing. Why are we?
Well, we need to find out what she knows, because they were arguing about something, and if we can imply to her that we're trying to stop him from doing whatever it is that's upsetting her so much, I'm pretty sure she'll spill beans.
I mean, we can try, but not as a
We can try.
maid.
Not as a maid, no.
Is there any place I could change my clothes back to my regular clothes?
Down the side of one of the buildings, you can.
what was her name again? Did we learn her name?
No idea on name.
He wasn't calling her name. Okay.
Oh, Frau, I think he called her.
Yeah, which is
Madam.
yes.
Madam.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
This is why
You know
Oleg
nothing.
was asking.
Don't know that hot, spicy Reichspiel yet. Still sinking in.
Nope.
Okay. So, what are you doing?
Frau.
Perhaps we should find my brooder and then report back to the other brooders at the meat pie stand and have a delicious meat pie.
What
look.
about the lady?
Yeah, no, I really think we need to talk to her.
We do
Someone
not know
needs
her
to talk
name.
to her.
If we were to represent Mr. Brooder's father, do we know enough to do that?
Not really. I only know that they were disagreeing with Lieutenant Gruber about the wine business.
I'm not good at speaking with others, so I'm not good for this plan.
Well, was anyone else in the house with them when we were snooping around? You know, it
Not
was just
that-
the two
not
guards,
that
him and
you
her,
heard.
right?
Yeah,
no one
not
else
that
that
you
we've
heard.
seen?
Nope.
Well, fuck it. I'm going to knock on her door.
Yeah, go try this, and if this doesn't work, we can just send Grimwald in to interrogate her.
Just remind her I'm in my regular clothes now.
Okay. In your regular clothes, you knock on the door, and you are greeted by the same fair-haired lady. Young, you would estimate, probably the age of 19 to 20, something of that sorts. And she opens.
Good day, miss. My name is Monica. I am sent here from Lord Hieronymus. On behalf of his name, because he needs some cheap labor and sends us to deliver his messages. We saw you discussing with his son about a certain matter. We do not know which, but we are trying to stop whatever he is doing. So, yeah.
She seems quite a little bit taken back by what you've just said, and sort of pauses for a second to just think of what to... She just looks like she's in deep thought. This is probably about 5-6 seconds. I don't know nothing. Now shut off. Slams the door in your face.
Fair enough. Good day.
You can make a charm test actually to see if to see if you get anything more than that.
Okay. I assume no bonuses.
Nope. No penalties though on the plus side.
Oh, well, there you go.
Ooh.
Okay.
SL4.
As she sort of slams the door, don't tell no one of this, all right? He wasn't here. I'm not dealing with him. Told him to sod off. And you should too.
Okay.
Tell us what he's doing and we won't tell anyone?
I mean, you can respond. She's sort of in the process of closing the door on you at the moment.
Yeah, that's my response.
Oh, that's... I'll let you transfer over the success of Sienna looking as lovely as she does and friendly and welcoming. He wants to go ahead with some stupid deal. And I'm not an idiot and I don't want to stir up any trouble. So I told him to shut off. That good enough for you?
What was he proposing?
What's the deal?
Something related?
Something that will cause an awful lot of trouble. Now, come on. I've got washing up to do.
I can still tell people that he was here. I mean, you can tell me what the deal was.
If you tell anyone he was here, there will be hell to pay.
Well, if you tell us why he was here, nobody needs to know anything.
There might not be.
He wanted to set up a deal. Something with the Steve Dawes, with me hubby.
Something with what?
Thank you very much, ma'am.
He wanted to set up a deal
ourselves.
with the lady's husband regarding a business arrangement.
All we had to
That's
hear was Steve Dawes.
Yeah, indeed. That's basically that's the most notable thing, that he wanted to set up a deal with the Steve Dawes and her husband.
Oled's going to consider her words very closely with some intuition checks.
Sure.
Knowledge
modifiers, yes, no, up, down.
You would get plus 40 because this is basic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
So everything.
So you know that the Ruggbroders don't use the Steve Dawes. The Steve Dawes have a trade agreement with the Hagans, and the Ruggbroder family traditionally send all of their wares to and from the town, sometimes by boat, not very often, primarily through the Teamsters though, so they're basically driven by carts to the nearby areas. So you would know that there is an alliance between the Hagen and the Steve Dawes, and that certainly there would be tension created if other alliances were made. That would be as much as you'd know.
Okay.
Okay, so certainly what you saw was out of the sorts, and you would certainly agree that if a Ruggbroder had been discussing with Stevedores, then there would be a uproar of the Teamsters who would not be happy, and likewise the Harkins would not be happy. This much you would know.
Okay. Oleg's going to look to Thorn and Sienna.
Well, I think it's time that we find my brooder, and then go speak with the Thistle brooders. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, while we're going there, I would like to give the notes I took from the office to Rogel to see if he can read some of them.
Okay.
And I will be handing the...
I would be happy to read them.
Over to Sienna, so she can sell it off.
Okay.
I neatly and discreetly put it in my backpack so no one can see it.
Oh, we should be heading back to the Halfling brothers with information, right?
So you're going straight
so.
to the Halflings at this point, and so Grimvold, at this point you have observed the Mr. Ruggbroder head inside his office. In a little bit of a still in a bit of a huff after this 15-minute journey, and basically he steps inside and the doors to the office just they were open, just basically slammed shut behind him.
I'm just going to observe in the vicinity, like if the guy comes out, because like it's still like 4 or 5. You said. Yeah,
it's heading sort of more toward 5. So you're basically just going to wait there until. Yeah. Until okay.
I need to make 100%. I need to be 100% sure, since I'm not still sure that the guy is probably clean.
Okay. So from your perspective, let's go to the rest of the group first. So you guys are heading over to the Halflings, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's probably a half-hour walk from where you are to to Bert, the Halfling Bar. Upon arrival, there are a few chairs and tables that have been beginning to be put into position, and it's starting to look a little bit more like a tavern. It's perhaps not the nicest one you've ever been inside, but it is a tavern, nevertheless. And it's a little bit dim inside. It's as the sort of 5-6 o'clock in spring. It's no longer midday, but it's still... there's still plenty of daylight left. And you're welcomed in by apparently 2 thugs, but that's Matchwick and Candlewick. Oh, hello there. Welcome back. Good to see you again. How's my favourite band doing? Hello?
Thorn just reaches his hand up and grips the bridge of his nose. And closes his eyes.
Oleg is too busy being entranced by meat pies.
Okay, there is a bit of a smell now. You can hear that the ovens in the there must be a back room within here, but you can smell the odor of cooking meat. And basically, you were offered a meal, and a conversation is had between you regarding the events of the day. I'll flip back to Grimvold just for a moment. Grimvold, you will be probably outside for a couple of hours before you observe Mr. Ruggbroder head back to his home via cart, and basically disappears back inside his home at this point.
Okay, then so after that's done, I'm just
round about 6 o'clock. Okay, so during that time, the group will have conversed with the 2 halflings that have been incredibly interested in whatever you found. They will ask to see the documents which you found. Thorn, will you share, or will you tell them about the documents?
Could you read them first?
No, I'm going to tell them that I found documentation that probably doesn't pertain to what they were looking for, but I'd be willing to sell it to them.
Okay, I'll pop Grimvold there for the mo. There you go. Grimvold will be back in a moment. They will ask to see the documentation first. Well, seems you've been very busy. Information's always useful. Let's see what you've got there. I'm not going to pay you for a piece of empty paper. May I have a glance?
Yes, you may have a glance.
Oh, my. This is good. This is very... And starts nudging Candlewick. Candlewick, look at this. This could be useful. Well, I tell you what. I'll give you 10 silver for it.
Make it 15.
Make a charm test.
Charm or haggle? Charm or
And
haggle?
the voice and everything, sorry.
Charm. This will be charm because it's not really like a shopping
Bonuses?
situation. You're
It'll
just
be a
trying to...
haggle, wouldn't it? Don't we have haggle?
Yeah, I have haggle.
And she's kind of haggling for more money on that.
I
Haggle
can
exists.
kind of... Okay, we'll go with haggle.
Is that a
Yeah,
haggle? Or is that just charm?
Yeah. Any bonuses?
We'll go with haggle. No bonuses. And that will be opposed by him as well. So let's just see.
Fumbling failure.
Right. We'll do I'll do it as a cool test because it will be the same stats. And -6. Okay. They don't raise it. Actually, there's a difference of 5, so you're going to get an extra... You'll get 12 silver offered.
Yeah. I'll take
Okay.
3, he can take 9.
Do you accept?
Yeah, I'll pay her for helping me out, for sure. Oh, like, what'd you do? You sit outside? Okay. Here you go, Sienna.
So we get 9 silver being
Oleg
dealt.
gives you an offended look.
3 is... where's the cash? There it is.
Oh. I think I dealt it the wrong way round. We'll deal with that in a moment. So I think I just
I
dealt...
have 14 in total, so...
Yeah, we'll deal with that in a sec because I goofed. Right, so you're going to be offered some food at this point and sort of sit down to enjoy a bit of a meal with them, actually. It's they bring out a couple of pies from the back room. They're not open for business yet, but they do have a few of their own pies from their stalls, which have been imported from elsewhere to share a meal. And Grimwald is welcomed in sort of halfway through this meal as it's being served. It's kind of like a pork pie that's probably about 9 inches wide and 4 inches high. This is pretty big and impressive. It tastes glorious. Nicely seasoned, nice texture, good quantity and ratio of jelly to meat as well.
This is delectable.
Yeah, Bruder, very delectable.
It's
Who
a
wants to
halfling
play a game
recipe.
of cards while we are all sitting here?
Almost as good as Mama's suckling trout.
It's too bad we will never get to taste Mama's suckling trout anymore, Bruder.
So during the
That sounds
conversations,
really sexual. Rudeness.
Matchwick and Candlewick were very interested of the locations been to, and they do ask for sort of clarification as to anything regarding the conversation with his father, the meeting point, etc. And how much information do you share, or do you simply just tell them what happened today?
Well, they're paying for us for all
They are
the
indeed.
relevant information,
Yeah.
so I'll be giving them all the relevant information.
Okay.
That's
And-
just the honorable thing to do, and Ringle
I
will
also
hate me if
make a know that when you reach the age of 80, you start barking instead of speaking.
I said it's not natural for a man to live that long. No wonder he's losing his marbles. And, right, you say he wants to make a deal with the stevedores. May I look at that paper again? And starts, very interesting. Thank you. This is very, very good. And it's coming up to sort of 7, half 7, 8 o'clock by now. You've been there for a couple of hours, enjoyed a good meal. A little bit of ale is shared as well for any that is interested in partaking in a drink. You can... water is available. It's somewhat dirtied and not quite as nice or fresh, but it is available. And,
I'd like a drink.
You like a drink? Okay. For anyone having a drink, let's have a consume alcohol test, just to see if you're able to stomach this.
Anything?
This is only if you want to drink.
Yeah,
Flat-
of course.
What is the drink again?
The drink is horrible.
It's just a standard ale, so it's just a normal consume alcohol test.
I don't drink ale.
Okay. Okay.
Rogel will turn it down.
Okay, so
Considering
Sienna?
the brothers are pretty drunk, I'm gonna try and pickpocket Grimwald because he's sitting next to me.
Okay. We'll have a pickpocket test from you and a perception test from Grimwald. Grimwald, are you... I mean, if Sienna comes close to you, what are you going to do? Like, are you happy to sit next to her, or...
Oh yeah, I'm happy to sit next to her. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so the two of you are happy to sit next to each other, so you can get to a friendly point of view. So during the conversation, an attempt to pickpocket is made. So we'll have a pickpocketing or a dexterity check from Sienna, and we'll have
Dexterity? Just pure dexterity or sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand would be for... Yeah, we'll go sleight of hand.
Okay.
And we'll go for a perception test from Grimwald. And
Any bonuses?
seeing
Any
as you're both
bonuses?
drunk, it's -10 for both of you.
Aren't I
No,
sober
it's
because I'm a
life meal.
success?
Let's say that
I
one more
have a
time, sorry.
success. I'm not drunk. I have a
You're not drunk.
+1.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, only I am.
no
So it's -10.
negative for yourself.
Okay.
Okay, -3 and... Oh. Okay. So
I'm gonna reroll.
you're going to re-roll? Is this your last re-roll?
No, I have one left because I start off with 3 fortune.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Mm,
-4.
Imagine being that dedicated to ripping my ass off.
-1.
Okay. You can roll me a d10.
2.
2. Okay. And now roll me a d...
30.
d6. Okay. You get 1 bit of silver and 2 bronze pennies.
Okay.
And Grimwald is ever so slightly lighter.
I hate to interrupt your flirting, but weren't we supposed to be paid for the information? And,
Yes.
Also speak with Elise for more gold?
Indeed.
The
Where's our pay?
The payment, my darling, was on completion. We gave you the... I believe they gave you the 1 gold coin each to begin with. And the other coin was on completion of tomorrow, on the 2-day journey. So you've done the day 1. You've been asked to follow the Steinhagers tomorrow.
Yeah. So tomorrow we're doing Steinhangers.
I was mistaken.
No, don't worry. Everyone's eager for a bit of coin these days, don't you worry.
Oleg stares into his ale, which is apparently too strong for him.
Okay. And
Tips of his mustache twitches.
now, if you won't excuse us, it's starting to get late, and we have a busy day ahead. We're going to retire for the evening, aren't we, Candlewick? Candlewick just sort of nods. Still hasn't said anything the entire time you've met.
Yeah.
And,
I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna ask like, Entschuldigung, Greenthistle, but why isn't your Bruder speaking at all?
Little on the shy side, aren't you, Candlewick? Only like to speak in desperate times. It's we thought he was a mute for a long time, but let's just say he's very, very selective.
Can we check for deception?
Yeah.
Is it
Can
lying?
I?
Sure, you
Yeah,
can do an
they're
insight
lying.
test.
Inside?
Intuition.
Or intuition.
Intuition.
Yeah, that's the
Any
one.
bonuses?
It's going to take me a while to get used to that. Standard. Or -10 for you because you're drunk.
Okay.
I'd like to do that.
Ugh.
Seems believable.
Yep. Believable.
Yeah, it seems
I haven't
fine.
succeeded in
God.
a single test today. Just so
I
you-
believe
Yeah, right.
everything.
We're just failing everything. How are you supposed to survive in this game?
And with that, Matchwick is going to disappear up the stairs and retire, and Candlewick's begins to start to take away the plates and move them back. The light around is starting to get a little bit dim outside now, and the evening is close or rapidly closing in on you.
Oleg is hurriedly shoveling leftovers off the plates into his sling bag.
When I rolled that intuition check,
yeah,
did I get anything on second sight?
Second sight? No.
No.
There seems to be nothing unusual about the halflings from that perspective.
Thank you very much.
Very well.
Yeah, it is getting late and we need to find a place to stay. Would you be thinking we're going back to Mickey's, or do we find another place to stay?
Mickey's
isn't this
was
a
rather
tavern
high
as well?
class. Mickey's would cost much coin. Perhaps we should take the ferry and stay at Grant's.
Ah, yeah. That might be good.
You want to stay at Grand's?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Righto. So the four of you get up to leave, and Candlewick gives you a little wave as you go, and continues clearing away items and drinks.
Before we go, just Entschuldigung, Candlewick, tomorrow are we meeting up?
Candlewick, the Candlewick's gone upstairs right now. So, Matchwick's gone upstairs. So Candlewick sort of just walks over, points to the floor, and then holds up 9 fingers.
I got it.
At 9.
Okay.
Nods and walks back.
No floor? 9 floor?
Yeah, Bruder, tomorrow at 9 floors we have to... Yeah. It's 9.
I do not think that is what he meant, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, these guys are idiots. What are we doing with them?
Okay.
I don't know.